Live. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Me and Steve sitting here talking about like gear and stuff. How are y'all? I haven't broken anything today, Brian. I actually got a new stool. Oh, it wasn't a $600 stool, but I got a new stool.
Hey, that's looking like a nice stool, though.
Oh, this one's not terrible. I don't know if you can see it from back there. No, you can't see it from back there. But I got it. I went to. I finally have got to walk into a woodcraft store.
Oh yeah.
Never been to one in my life, and I went today. We had to go to Birmingham. My brother-in-law's in the hospital up there, and he's going to be there for a while. So I went up to check on him, and so I told Brandy, I was like, "Look, I have been hearing about this woodcraft store from everybody saying I need to go." So I Googled it, and of course, well, I Appled it. Let's say I had asked Siri for directions. Showed up, and dude, my heart was crushed because there was a woodcraft sign, and this store was vacant. And I'm like, no, because I done been thinking about it, all the way there. Like, this is gonna be awesome. Well, come to find out, apparently somebody forgot to update their Apple listing, and but their Google listing was accurate, so it was about another 3 miles down the road in a newer building. So I found it and went in. Of course, they didn't have any CNCs on the floor, and the guy was telling me that the cheapest CNC he would recommend was $15,000, and I was like, I don't know about that. I think I could probably get one cheaper than that. So just walked around, looked at some of the lumber prices, and I realized I should be milling more lumber. They had some wood in there, like $10 for a piece of
Well,
black walnut, like tiny. I mean, it was
yeah,
good quality, clean wood, but still,
yeah.
I need to get
Well,
back
you
to
got you
milling.
got to remember though. I mean, woodcraft, and I was at one on Friday. I've been to one, and actually, this machine right here, this drum sander, I purchased from them. It was their shop model that they used very infrequently, and they had it on kind of a clearance sale as a demo unit because they were getting the newest model. But I mean, they cater to your woodworkers, but it's kind of like your how do I want to phrase this? I shop there a lot for certain specific tools, but I will never buy wood there. That's they're
Yeah,
catering to people that have no other ways to mill their wood down to what's called S4S, sanded four side, surfaced four side, and so they charge a premium for it, and they're generally in those.
obviously.
It's the guys that like to word to they do woodworking, but they want it. They want it partly way there. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
they
there
had
are
some.
fun.
They had some
Actually,
interesting tools, but it was a little pricey for me. I don't know. I felt like I needed to just ride on down the road to Home Depot. It was a little it was a little pricey,
well, I
but
did make a purchase. I bought a bandsaw blade there for the smaller bandsaw I picked up.
yeah,
Nothing fancy, just there. I think this is a $20 Starrett. So, but better than the one that comes with the kit bandsaw. So, yeah, they're a nice store to go to, especially if you need parts and doodads for some of your non big box store sanders and such. But
yeah,
you're going to pay a lot for some of the other things. They also have a nice mixture of the higher end finishes and such.
yeah.
If you're needing that. Now I went to both Woodcraft and Rockler on Friday. I spent money at one, but not the other. So the uh,
Yeah.
the Rockler closest to me. So Rockler is actually a Minnesota company, and they process all their online orders out of the Twin Cities area. And every so often, uh, people return things. They don't want to keep them for whatever reason, and they process those all to the closest Rockler to me, which is still an hour away. But this could be something as much as there was box damage or there was a minor scratch on the case, but the item itself still works just fine. And so obviously they can't stick it back out there full retail price, but they have a outlet section of the store there that they sell all these things at a pretty good discount. and so I've been able to snag some decent higher end things that just might have a little cosmetic damage, and that was pretty fun to shop through there every so often and find a deal. But anyway,
Yeah.
enough about Rockler and Woodcraft.
Well, I thought it was neat. Like I said, I did wind up buying a stool. Now it's a little put back by the guy, like you said. It's like Brian said. I don't know. I mean, there's some nice things in there, but the guy I bought I saw the stool at the door and I was like, man, that's a nice stool. I need one of them for the shop. And but it was right by the counter, and so I told Brandy, I said, she's like, well, buy it. And I'm like, well, I don't think that one's for sale. It looks like it's being used. And he's like, oh no, we sell them. And then when I picked the box up and put it on the cash register, he's like, there is going to be some assembly required. And me and Brandy both looked at each other like, I mean, did he think that we thought that this stool was going to be assembled in this box that was like that tall?
I'm sure they get all types.
So I'm like, yeah, I think I can handle it. So anyway, thanks everybody for showing up. Me and Steve we were in here actually earlier and just got started talking and lost track of the time. This thing should automatically just start, but it didn't. So we'll try to get to some of the questions. Tammy, Christmas ornament designs, not wanting to, promote my store too much, but hey, I do sell some designs. If you're not comfortable with making your own, but with enough practice and light burn and watching Steve and watching me and talking to some of these other guys, you can build your own designs. If you want a good jump off point, I sell like different varieties of just general ornaments that I sell at shows and stuff like that. And I try to keep the prices to where, it's almost, you can just buy it for like $2 or $3 and you don't have to spend the time. So if that's something you're interested in, go to Etsy and look for the Clack Shack. And I got Christmas ornaments and some other little files in there. And I know Steve's got some stuff too. You're putting designs on Etsy now, aren't you? For
I've
some
got
stuff.
Yeah, I've got a few out there. I actually have a nice video if you're looking to make some customized ornaments. I have a video that'll step you right through kind of making the outline and then adding in the name and how you can do that within Lightburn. And I'd have to go back and look. Sometimes when it's a fairly simple thing like that, I just put kind of the base file out there and a link to it through Google Drive. So that's a lot of times. When I'm looking for a certain thing, I'll browse Etsy and see what's out there. And if someone's spent the time and put the file out there for $2-3. I'm not going to spend my time redesigning something that's already there. I'll pay them. more than happy to just kind of to roll with it and then maybe customize it after that. So that's definitely a good place to look. But you can also just search for Christmas ornament SVG, and you're probably going to find some free files out there that you can import in. Just be mindful of making sure that it is being offered by a place that owns the design, and be mindful if they have, this is for personal use only, or, it's free, knock yourself out, just give us credit or whatever. Just be mindful of the creator's intellectual property on that. But there are definitely some good ones out there that you can build off of.
Here you go, Brian. Uh-oh, it didn't work. God. But I forgot to turn that on. But no, Brian, the Clack Shack bought that for me. I did just do an event. I made a little pocket change, and of course I had to reinvest into the shack to support my back better. My hip and back's been killing me, but it's because I spent so much time. And let me see my stool here. This was my stool, guys. This is where I've been sitting to do all these shows and do all this work. So now I have this cool little dude, and it's form fitted for my backside. So and it also has a little bit of give to it. So hopefully it's going to help my back and hip not bother me as much. My wife says it actually has nothing to do with my stool and everything to do with fixing to be 50 years old. But what does she know? Let's see if this works now.
It's funny. No.
Oh, wait a minute. It is working. I just got it where I can't hear it now. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's working, but it's like doubling up on it.
Well, I double tapped it because I didn't hear
Oh,
it. My
okay.
bad.
So you're not supposed to, you're only supposed to double tap zombies. Um,
Well,
I
I'm trained that way.
It's funny. I almost bought a similar stool when I was at Rockler. I was looking at it, but there was just a couple things about it. I was like, nah, I don't quite like it. So that would have been kind of funny
Yeah.
for us both to have bought them. But I'll still be in the hunt for mine. Maybe I'll get a rich benefactor and drop that $600 on the one that Chris reviewed.
I just get this one was a
I got to
hundred,
s- I got to
but
sit on that one in his shop, and it actually is a pretty nice stool. So
now I
I'll
had
give
thought
him
about
that.
going
But
by the tractor shop and getting me like a Kubota tractor seat or something and putting on here.
there
It's
you
got
go.
all the padding and stuff. But yeah,
There you go. Yep.
don't keep.
So how's it going, Jeff?
No, Mark, I don't keep my wallet in my back pocket. That's law enforcement 101 when you spend 12 hours riding a vehicle. It'll mess up your sciatic nerve. And I used to alternate it. I used to keep it in the glove box. And another thing too is when you're jumping fences, running through people's backyards, and you rip the pocket off of your pants, you don't want your wallet laying in somebody's driveway. So typically we just keep an ID card or something in our shirt pocket, and the wallet stays either in your personal vehicle at home or in the patrol car. So that's kind of a habit that I haven't carried a wallet in my pocket when I'm at work in a long time. So
Yeah, even I got used to. I switched to a front pocket minimalist wallet. Um, it,
yeah.
just that little bit of offset can really mess up your back. So
Well, I had a car accident going to a burglary in progress a few years ago. One cold, rainy night, and I wound up me and a tree tried to occupy the same space, and I was running about 60 miles an hour when I hit that tree, and it totally like made me and the vehicle one. It took them about 4 hours to get me out of it, and from what my chiropractor tells me, I've just got a lot of scar tissue in my hip, and it's probably from doing all the stuff I've did over the years. But he said he thinks it's more than likely the accident where the seatbelt caught. It damaged it, but because I was younger, I didn't notice it, and now that I'm getting older, I got ghosts from that. So my hip's coming back to haunt me. But hopefully it'll start easing off. I've started actually working out again and trying to strengthen up my core because it really didn't bother me until I quit running and quit working out and everything.
we got a question here from ETLC on doing some black slate tiles and doing a test grid. Second part of the question states it went up to 6,000 speed and 30 to 100% power, but no change that I could tell. No, wait, this is black granite or black slate?
I thought it
Either,
said slate,
yeah, it's
but
slate on the one, but bringing in granite there as well. Either way, they're going to be similar, and you may actually find that with slate on a 20-watt laser, you may need to go a little bit faster or lower power. So you would want to make sure that your laser is actually set up to go beyond that 6,000. A lot of them are defaulted to that, even though they say they support up to 10,000. You want to do run your parameters, check for that S30. Or actually, no, sorry, that's your power. Check for the Y-axis and the X-axis max rate on them. That's like somewhere in the 110 or something like that.
need me to switch
It'll
over
be
to
listed
that.
in there. Sure, yeah, if you've got it up. You might want to double check that it is set up to go a little bit faster. And it's generally something that I find that you're going to find a sweet spot of a little faster speed, but you're probably not going to be at 100% power. And you're going to look for some slight variations. The slate's going to go from kind of a very light white to almost a yellowish color. And so you're just looking for the smoothest kind of white usually. So when you get too high power, that's going to be a little rougher. It's going to be grittier, and it'll actually turn a little bit of a yellowish. So
$110 is going to be your X max rate, and $111 is the Y max rate. So those are the two that you're going to want to check to make sure that your machine will go over 6,000, because there is a possibility, like Steve said, that you're putting those settings in there, but your machine is maxing out, and when it maxes out, it won't tell you that it's maxed out. It'll you'll notice there's no longer a change in the burn. So that's going to be your two. It's going to be X max rate right here, which is 110, and Y max rate here, which is 111.
So
That's going to be yeah.
It's not actually showing your window right now. It's just showing the light burn one, but not the extra pop-up. So
What? Hang on. Let me see if I can do this one. How about there?
there you go. Now we can see it.
Okay. I'll adjust that later. But yeah, here it is right here. X rate 110, and the Y max rate is 111. Now, when you go into this, you're going to have to go to machine settings right here. And then you're going to want to make sure when you click this, it's going to ask you, are you sure? And you're going to have to hit OK. I would be careful before you do this. It's not a bad idea to take and save this to a file right here. Just back up your factory settings before you mess with anything. Hit that button, save it somewhere, so that if you do mess it up and your machine starts doing weird things, you can go back and load it from the file that you saved and know that it's back the way that it was, and everything should be working fine. So I always, when I get a brand new machine, the first thing I do is I open this and save that file as fresh out of the box or stock or whatever. And then as I change things in here, I will change it and I'll put a date on there. That way I can always go back and load the last file that I had that worked if I mess something up. So just a little tip there, because it's not a question of if you're going to mess something up. It's just a matter of when. So that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. Yeah, I'll just have to remember my light burn button does not show the sub screens. That's not good.
So, but yeah, you'll do try to widen up your array to really start getting an idea where you're getting that shift, and then you can kind of dial it in from there. And remember, with slate, you can just sand. If you've got an orbital sander, you can sand your test grid off and reuse that tile again, and that way you're not really wasting material. So you can really run that a number of times to really dial it in. So granite is going to be similar method, but as far as I know, if you sand that off, you got to repolish it and such. So you're not going to have the same flexibility with that. But yeah, you should be able to hopefully get some inexpensive tiles to do some testing to get you within the ballpark, and then whatever is your final material, you're probably going to want some scrap, and be able to do it that way as well. But and yeah, you can do photographic type things on there. With the processed images, you just got to remember that you're going to be inverting it, because wherever you're burning it, instead of turning it darker, it's turning it lighter. So you're going to need to make sure you invert that image so that it comes out right for you. And there's a lot of cool stuff. You do a lot of playing around with that. So
yeah, I will kind of piggyback off of what Jeff's saying here. I have found that with slate on some machines, depending on what you run the LPI, you can actually get a better result with lower power, because it destroys the material more instead of just changing it to that gray, cool looking engrave. So you're definitely going to want to run a power test to come out and figure out what it is that you like, because the look that you like might not be what me and Steve like. So I'd always do power tests when you can. Sometimes you can't. You just got to go for it. Yeah, Brian. I'm luckily, I think since I got this new computer put in, I've got it on Cat 5. There's not much more I can do to make this video any better. So I'm hoping everything works well. I even got my new microphone in, so I'm hoping that's working a little better. I'm not having to use the rat tonight. So it's been a work in progress, but I think I'm getting there.
yeah, show off. Got AC and your boom mic.
Hey, well, it's not a boom mic; it's a desk mic. Let me get the ZV over here. Oh, look at that! I can just grab a camera. Oh, I love it. See, it's not a boom mic. It's this guy. It's the Elgato Wave 3. You see, I've got my little workstation set up and everything for me. Actually, I actually got my look. This is I done tightened it up too tight. Hang on, one hand in this. Look, I actually got two screens now. I mean, I'm trying to get up. I'm trying to get my game up, Steve. Y'all were talking bad about me. Brian was giving me a hard time, so I had to do better.
Um, so Mark, is asking about the IKEA autofocus. Is the focus adjustable in case real focus is not factory estimate? That's something I was wanting to look into to see if you can change the parameters in there, because it's basically touching off with a limit switch and then knowing I need to back off X distance. So in theory, there should be a way to modify and change that. I haven't looked deep enough into that yet to find that out, but that was one of my questions as well. What you can do is you can set in your layers, you could say, all right, autofocus here, but then do your Z offset of X amount, and then that will start the job. But then it'll go to the normal autofocus depth, and then it'll make the adjustment from there. So that would do it, but it's kind of a two-step thing, and it adds just a little bit of time as it starts the job to make that adjustment. But so it
Yeah,
is technically possible that way.
Workaround too. I've actually figured out how to set the z-axis, like you're saying. If I don't like that factory axis, I create another macro. I've been told it's whichever, and I create that to where it basically moves the z. Either I can move it up or down just by hitting that button from the factory focus, and I've did that on both machines that I've had that had autofocus and a z-axis so far, and it works. But yeah, you can do it by layer. But if you wanted to just do it one time and not have to put it in every layer, then you can also create another macro to do it. Acemer P1. Yeah, Steve, that Acemer's, it's not a bad machine. I mean, for what you get and for the performance of it, I was pretty impressed. My buddy Decline is still he's using it right now, and it's still doing a great job. He's been turning out some work, doing a lot of tumblers with it. He's got it and the rotary that came with it, and he's been supporting his habit, so it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I just loaned mine out to a good friend as well who wants to kind of dabble in this. He's done some stuff he's got a CNC mill he's been working on, like a big Bridgeport style mill that he's been working on getting set up, and he's familiar with a lot of 3D printing and such. So he's not foreign to the CNC control devices, but I told him, I said, well, why don't you come over and grab this one and see what you can do with it. So I think it's a good one for someone starting out and getting enough features without being too overkill. So
yeah. He actually started him a Facebook. Whoever's asking me about that, let me see if I can find his Facebook page here, and I'll drop a link. He changed his name. His son, he's got a son that's him and his son are doing it together, and his son convinced him to change the name because he didn't want it to be all dad's stuff. So let me find it here. Here we go. But yeah, he's doing some pretty cool stuff, and trying to hone his skills. He wanted to come over today and use my big machine because he took on an order that he didn't have the capability of doing. But I had to go to the hospital this morning and do some visiting, and then wanted to go by a tour of Woodcraft, so I was a little late getting home. But that's where his Facebook page is. If y'all want to go check it out. Some of the designs and stuff you may notice. Some of the stock you may notice because he comes over here and sometimes he'll help me and I'll pay him in blanks instead of money. So, but yeah, it's still holding up good. He's dying to get his hands on the Whizmaker, but I'm still planning on doing a couple of videos with it still. Let's see. That's it. Yeah, y'all have to hurry up with the questions now. Me and Steve are gonna start talking about pizzas at freaking Maynard's or something. Or I'm gonna start.
No,
I'm gonna start hitting Brian with the gong over here.
you know, you keep talking about those, and you ever come up here, I'm gonna make you buy one and eat it.
I'm serious. I'm going to. I'm going to sit down in the middle of the store on a pile of 2x4s and eat a pizza if I ever find one of those places, and I'll video it for y'all.
It would be a frozen pizza, so
It'll thaw.
okay.
I'm sure they sell little propane torches in there. I can heat that puppy up right there and have it. It'll be like you cooked it in a rock fire pit. Oh, there you go. There's you one, Steve. Norbert wants to
Using
know.
automotive trim pins as hold down pins. Now that's an interesting idea. I have not looked at it, but they could work. But those tend to have the the way the clasp are angled back. If they're not just the right size, they could catch things as you're trying to pull them out. But
I was fixing to say if they're too good of pins, you're not going to get those things out without a body clip tool.
yeah, but yeah, if they're just straight into the honeycomb and they're pushing up against the sides, just barely, they should provide enough tension, but enough give. But I find my laser cut ones and my 3D printed ones are pretty good, and I can always tweak those a little bit. So
Uh-oh, look at there. Yeah.
yeah, well, I've been trying to add some annotation because sometimes what I find when I'm cutting my videos, it's better to put some annotation over the actual job cutting than have me sit and talk about it for too long because I'll get wordy and then it'll be a really long video. So yeah, sometimes I'll start dropping in the speeds and the feeds, or kind of a little annotation of this is what the machine's doing at this time, and kind of showing in action. So glad it's appreciated. Trying to continue to have information and content, but not make things too long. So it does sometimes add a little bit of time to the edit, and then I'll be sending messages to Clack about complaining about issues and such, like I
Yeah.
had this week. But
Yeah. Especially if we both get the same machine. You're like, hey, did this drive you nuts? Or did that
I
drive you
was
nuts?
talking more about my issues with the editing software, but
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, it is nice.
Well, we both did have the same issue with the ASMR P1. And was that guy still in here? I meant to tell him about that. The guy that said he was ordering an ASMR P1, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. If you have an issue when you get it out of the box of it being wired backwards, hit me up, or I don't remember if I put the link to that in the description I did on the video, but I created a where you can go in and load the profile into the machine, and it'll fix the issues that thing had, because some of the machines they sent out, they programmed them right backwards, and it was really annoying to fix. And it's a lot easier just to, when you see us doing it, just shut it down and then load that file, and it fixes it. So I can save you some headache on that. I'll send you that file. I did tell ASMR about it, and they said they were going to address it, but I don't know. You never know if they did.
there you go. It's Steve Hudson,
Let me see if I can find that file, Steve. I've got it on my Google Drive. I just link drop it from Google Drive. But yeah. But yeah, Brian says your stuff was pretty helpful there. And I see Helix is asking a question, or is that... Okay, I'll read that in just a second. Let me find this Acer config file. I've got it
So,
somewhere.
so Mike, are you
Here
asking
it is.
about a laser that has with Z control on that one? Because there are a few out there, and so you've got the two trees. That's got the controllable Z axis, and the Acer Sorry, getting my Acer L2 has it, as well as the IKEA K1. Um, so they're how's the price point on the two trees? I know the IKEA and the Acers are pretty close in price.
The two trees wasn't terrible. I was actually shocked at. Let me look. The 20 watt. Are we looking at a 20 watt or because I don't know if they've released the price on. Let me see if I can find their website. Two Trees official shop. There we go. The 10 watts 469, and the 20 is 799. So yeah, they're. I mean, for what you're getting, I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty decent price. Now, I will tell you, the only hang up I had is make sure you select which plug you want with yours, or you'll be buying adapters off of Amazon to make it work. Because they sent me the little round, like chopstick looking plug, and so I had to buy an adapter. But I couldn't complain, so now I
yeah.
have
I
an
got one
adapter
of
if it ever
those.
happens again.
I got one of those with one of the Sculpt Fun machines, but luckily it's just the typical computer power cord that goes into the power supply. So I was able just to swap that out with one of my others that I have, so I didn't have to get too crazy in that. But
Yeah.
so it sounds like, I mean, if you want a Z addressable machine, that Two Trees one is pretty a good value machine
Yeah.
without breaking the bank. I know the Acer and the IKEA, they're pushing about what, $1,200 for the 20 watt versions. So
Yeah. Yeah. They get on up there.
they're but I've been I just dropped the first video on the IKEA K1 this week after doing some of the initial testing and whatnot. Pretty happy with it overall, and I'm going to be doing a little bit more. I'm going to try to get a video out on setting up and using that addressable Z access on it, and looking forward to doing some projects with it. So um, so my experience right now is a lot of testing, but one thing I can say is that just doing a 90-degree scan angle on this, it got very clean engraving. It's very smooth, very clean. There's no banding that I had to worry about. Same thing on this. And this was a 8x8 engraving of a little kitten there. And this one was done in 40 minutes at 8x8. And this was, now they advertise 48,000 millimeters a minute or 800 millimeters a second. So I'm like, all right, let's do it at that and 100% power. Now, mind you, in the shorts, it's only a 410, I think it's 410 millimeter width on that, or 430. It's never going to really get up to that speed for very long, if at all, because of acceleration and deceleration. But for an 8x8 image in 40 minutes, it was still moving. And like I say, you can see the grain in this one, but I'm not really picking up any of that kind of banding that you sometimes get in these. So that's one thing that definitely impressed me about the IKEA one.
Yeah, now I did find out that there may be a difference between the programming of the IKEA and the Acer. I was going to discuss that with you, but I forgot about it earlier. Had a guy message me and say that his machine, when you home it, he's having that problem I had with the Two Trees. When you do the focus, it's losing registration in the workspace. So I don't know. I'm guessing that's a programming difference somewhere. But I told him I would tell you about it, let you test it with your machine, and see if you can figure out a fix for that.
Yeah, I need to test that with mine. I'm not 100% sure that it was holding it every time, but you know, I might be able to tell you a little bit more about the differences between the two, after Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, Steve's asking about loading that file, so I was going to switch over to screen share here for a minute
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's help them out.
and show him exactly how to go about loading that file. So here we go. All right. So same as what we did earlier in Lightburn, you're going to want to go over here into your machine settings. The file that I sent you is just download it to your machine. I don't remember if it's zipped or not. If it is zipped, you may need to unzip it before you get into this point. You're gonna go down here to load from file, and then wherever it is on your machine, and let me go to mine because I got I got machine files for days here. So, well, here we go. Being a little slow. Woo. There we go. HMR P1. This is gonna be the file that I sent you right here. And what you'll do is you'll just double click that, and when you double click that, it's gonna basically populate all those changes in here, and then you can just tell it to write, and then once it does, you can hit OK, and you should be done. So there you go. And I hope I didn't just write that to my Acer. I think I may have. I'll fix that while we discuss things. Oh, I think I just wrote that to a machine. That's terrible. Which machine was I on? The Acer P20. It's not connected.
Hey.
It shouldn't have written anything.
Better fix that before you go to print something else.
Yeah.
And get quite the surprise.
Yeah, let me load that back. Yeah, apparently I'm in my Acer P20. So let me go redo that. Let me fix that back like it's supposed to be. That's why, guys, you always create backup copies.
So, yeah, Brian, I can do a comparison on laser spot size between the two once I get them. It might not make it directly into one of the first videos, but maybe in a more general one, I'll be able to do a little comparison amongst multiple lasers. You know, maybe I can show a typical 5, 10, 20, and 30 watt laser, and do a few tests and perf tests to see how things are coming out. So that would hopefully be an informational video people would be interested in. So
luckily, I didn't have the right COM port selected, nor was the machine powered up. So we're good. That would have been awful. Oh man.
Let's see, was there something else? Anybody got other questions or comments? Here's one. Diet Do Man is asking, can a 20 watt diode laser engrave silicon watch bands? Or silicone, I'm guessing. Yes, it should be able to. It's not something I've played with, but I know I've seen people doing it on 10 watt. And so I would imagine you're not going to have any problems on 20 watts. Again, with diodes, you may have varying results as far as the color. Lighter bands may not work as well as the darker ones. Just it's the same as any other material like acrylic and such. But yeah, like Brian says, there's going to be some odor to it.
Yeah, and I'd be careful with a 20 watt with silicone too. You may rip straight through it, so you might want to have some extras.
So Jeff's got a question here. Procedure question: frame then home then start, or just frame then start?
I home first.
Now,
Home is the first thing I do.
Do you have it set up to home on startup, or do you leave that unchecked?
I leave that unchecked because I'm bad to, especially if you do stuff with rotary and you haven't adjusted your focus and you've got that thing set up in there and you power the machine on with that rotary or chuck in there. So I've turned that off. The whole home at power up, it just isn't worth it to me. So
yeah, I leave that off as well, just in case you need to move something out of the way. Maybe you have some material in there and the laser head's set too low, or when you're swapping out to a rotary. I guess as far as operations for myself, I will home it and then frame. And depending on the laser, if I have to do any manual adjustments, I don't want to risk, sometimes bumping things out of whack. So I might rehome it again, and then send the job. But generally, I'll frame it to check it, and then I'll just send the job from there, unless I feel like something was out of whack. But that's kind of my operations for it.
Yes. I wrote that to the Acer L24. Oh my gosh. Let me go fix that. I just realized it was on the it was on the Comport 4. It was on my P20, but it was actually on the L4. So let's see
So
here.
yeah, Brian is commenting on odor and the idea with your fresh air intake and enclosure. Definitely would help with the smell of anything from laser or from leather to your typical wood and other stuff. My concern up here is, uh, as much as I'd like to preserve the heat in here in the middle of winter, I don't want to be pumping in, sometimes below zero air into my laser when it's running. That could create some other problems. So unless I can rig up some sort of heat exchanger there, I'm going to have to be able to dump some heat out when I'm lasering in the winter still. But I can definitely see it in the summer here,
I haven't.
and really 3 seasons. It's just the deep cold, and I'll be honest, if it's that cold, I'm probably definitely not coming out here, and so then that's why the old basement workshop gets to work out then. So then I
Yeah.
dump
Well,
out my warm air, but
you could build yourself a warming kind of like a heat exchanger, but instead of a heat exchanger, it could be a heat uh, infuser. You know, just put you in a little electric, like put you a heating element inside there, so that when it pulls the cold air from outside, it warms
yeah,
it up. I
yeah.
mean,
But I think the idea is to not waste the energy of dumping hot air onto it. So
see, we don't have that problem down here. I mean, if it's in the 40s and 50s outside, that's just going to make the machine run better in the wintertime because I'm going to keep it 75 ish in here. So in the wintertime, that's actually going to benefit me better than in the summer. But even in the summer, where the air's coming in, the air intake is kind of in the shade side of the building, right beside the kiln. And so, it's still pulling some air from inside the shop for now. I haven't got it completely sealed. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. I mean, it can't be any hotter than it was last year. Last year in this shop, it was 120 degrees when I was out here working. So it's cooler than that outside because there's a breeze blowing. So
yeah,
I think I'll be good. I'll let y'all know if it works. Worst case, I'll blow up a machine and I'll have to fix it. So
yeah. Well, it's getting on the verge of warm here. It's been a warm week. We've been in flirting with the 90s for a number of days. Humidity's up, so it's uh, it's 75 in here right now. So
all right, let's test our troubleshooting skills. Uh, there you go, control box.
yes, we had talked. I talked with him on email a little bit about this, and I'm trying to, so basically the laser powers on, but he doesn't get any communication between Lightburn or laser GRBL. And
Driver.
tried to flash the firmware as Comgo shows, but
Well, I've got a possible solution that I'd like for him to try. It may or may not help it. I have found that this file actually does help on a lot of machines. Hang on, let me find it. I mean, it's a driver. It's all it is. And I'm trying to remember where I put it. I just sent it to a buddy of mine. He had a problem with one the other day, and it fixed his. So let me see if I can find it. It's a CH6 something.
now there's a couple versions of that. Are you pointing to the abnormal one as an option?
What's that?
I think there's a couple of versions of that driver.
And he's got the Comgrow Z1, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if our firmware. There's a configuration. I got a config file, of course. The driver file for it is that CH340 SER serial adapter driver. Have you installed that on your machine, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
No, I was talking to him
Yeah.
because it sounds like to me it's not. It's getting power, but it's not getting communications with the machine, and it's you're really kind of
He says
limited on
he
what you're gonna be able
has.
to do.
The other thing too, then, is to also look in your device manager if you're on Windows, and when you plug in the USB, see if it recognizes an unknown device or not, or even if it recognizes that you should at least get the ding notification that it sees something was plugged in. If you're not getting that, then there's definitely something with that board is not identifying. So
Do, had enough? Do you know how to go in and look at your COM ports and see what's connected to your COM ports?
okay, beeps, so the computer recognizes something's there.
Beeps. What kind of operating system? Beeps.
Windows, when you plug in a USB device.
Oh, he says the board's beeping.
Oh, he thinks it's a board.
Yeah, I was just saying
Yeah.
Windows usually does the doo-doo-doo, little
Well, it's
whatever. Uh,
fine. It's a tone. Your
it's
computer
not a
beeps.
it's not a beep.
Well, it's not a macro
Oh,
either.
well, now the A5 Pro uses a different driver, does it not? Yes, yes, I think it does. Oh, have you looked at your COM ports to see if anything is showing up at all on your COM ports or on your USB? Any kind of unknown device on your USB settings? Okay, y'all are killing me with these. It's flying here. They're falling behind on the posts.
Yeah, you got to remember there's a slight delay.
Yeah. Well, if it's not a driver and it's not a bad cable, then the only other possible thing it is there's a problem on the controller. So, but I would recommend going in and looking at your okay, CH340. Is it showing up on a comp? Is it assigning a COM port to it? Da, 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 da. Da, da, da.
I believe when I got mine, uh, I I had to make sure that the micro SD card was installed and did not have a firmware update in the root drive before it recognized mine. So that's
Yeah.
one other thing to try.
Nothing else works. Yeah, but is the COM3, that's not assigned to the Atom stack, is it? Because you should have multiple COM ports if you've got multiple machines plugged into it. Um, each machine is going to get assigned a port number. I don't know. I would probably uninstall it and try to reinstall it if it's showing up in your computer. But yeah, if that's not working, maybe you do have a bad board. I don't know. I don't know. Without being sitting there in front of it or diving into your machine, I couldn't say for sure. But yeah, definitely a communication issue. Sounds like if it's working with the Atom stack, it makes me think that it's the driver. Maybe the driver didn't go in properly, or there's a lot of things that could have went wrong with it. I have different versions of that driver because every different company that sends us a machine sends a different copy of that driver. See like the Two Trees uses that same driver, and he said he's got an Atom stack. Let's see what the Atom stack's running.
Yeah, I think I've only installed that maybe once. Most of them use a very similar driver, so
Yeah, it looks like it's using the same one, but Atom Stack doesn't send you a That they didn't even send a driver with that one. Doesn't look like, because I copy usually on the SD card. That's where all your software is. So I always dump the contents of those cards on my computer, so I'll have it.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm not seeing anything other than the CH340. So, well, I can give you a link to the copy of the one that I got with a couple of these different machines if you'd like. Maybe something happened to the one that you've gotten. So let me upload that right quick while y'all check for another question. Da, da, da. I'll get the let's see which one was the most recent. Two Trees was the most recent machine I got. So. Da, 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 da. Getting there.
Best way to remove soot from a wood engrave besides using air.
That is the best way.
Sanding sometimes removes too much of the design. Well, it depends on the material you're using. Like if it's a lighter wood, you can burnish that soot into the material if you're using too aggressive of sanding on it. So if it's really prone to absorbing that, do a couple things. You can actually mask it off with some tape, as long as it's not a PVC based tape, and then that will prevent it from going outside of wherever you're engraving. But then you're going to have to weed off any of the tape if it's a real intricate design. You got to weed that off. You can sometimes pre-finish it, and then it should clean off easier. Some people have had luck with, just some very light alcohol and other things. LA Awesome. I'm trying to think of a few of the other ones, and then Magic Eraser sometimes helps. But I generally try to. I mean, if it's a deep enough engrave, I'll just use a higher grit sandpaper just to try to remove that surface stuff without getting too. If you use too aggressive of a grit sandpaper, it's going to sand down into your detail. But if you use something like 300 grit, it'll kind of take off any of that kind of overburn without affecting too much of the actual engrave. Now, mileage will vary with some thinner details and such, but
Yeah, my bad on that, guys. It's 340. Y'all know I don't do numbers. I put 304, but it's actually 340. But that's the most recent copy I've got sent. I think it's a pretty generic driver, but I would try, if I were you, had enough. I would try to just totally remove the machine if it shows up in your device manager, and then install that driver. And then once you've installed the driver, then plug the machine back up into the computer. See if that fixes it. I mean, if not, like I said, you may have to go deeper.
so yeah, I mean, depending on what people are looking at, if it's just kind of
They already
the
did
soot
that.
that's left in an engraving, I find just compressed air works well. But if it's the actual kind of the gunk that I call overburn that actually kind of stains the wood outside of it, that needs a little more. Usually needs a little bit more to remove it.
They actually already have invented something like you're talking about. There, Brian. There you go, right there, man. There you go, silly putty. And believe it or not, it actually will remove stuff like that. Now, after a while, you're gonna have to ball it up and throw it away, but it will do it.
Yeah, it'll remove ink from a newspaper.
Yep. Those of you that didn't have silly putty as a kid, y'all just missed out. Oh, my chats went hinky on me. I knew it was going to catch me eventually. I kept commenting. Now I can't do anything. There it goes. I hear you there. Brian, that's for you. But yeah, Silly Putty actually does, it will remove certain things. I haven't tried it on laser engraving. I should order some and test it on laser engraving. See, there's somebody there's somebody that's old enough to remember this stuff.
Yep.
Which I say that most of our audience is old enough. They may be too old to remember Silly Putty. I mean, just being honest. Yeah. Brian remembers yard darts. He's telling on his age. Yeah, Brian's want me to bite the bullet. It's not a that's not a bad idea, Brian. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can get a pound of the stuff for $27, or I can get like a whole bunch of them for $9. I think I'd start out with just one or two, and then move my way up. It's like $8. I can get a pack of 6, and
No, Silly
nothing.
Putty was pretty dense. I wouldn't think a pound of it would be that much.
Well, maybe that's just sales propaganda. It says giant red egg, 1 pound. Good.
Well,
Man, if
I
I'd
guess
got
it
that
wasn't
one.
necessarily that heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you definitely need to do some science here.
Well, hey, you know what? We'll look into that. For $9 we can find out, guys. And
And
we
I
get
want you to do a nice comparison and throw in some Play-Doh and I don't know, one of those, those
the
rubbery sticky hand things that you
yeah,
used to use
the
with
Play-Doh,
snatch
will
papers.
get stuck in the engrave. I can tell you that without testing. I played with enough Play-Doh in my days.
Hey, come
It'll get
on.
stuck in the
Don't
engrave. Oh, yeah, that's right, Brian.
for the
I
video,
can do
man. You're
science.
ruining it.
I just can't do math. The suggested to buy together is a Slinky. If you go to Amazon and put uh, Play-Doh or Silly Putty in your cart, by the way.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get you to search other random things so that your Amazon suggestions are all messed up.
Dude, it's already suggested me buy some kind of like little squeezer thing for uh, icing.
Hey, I've used those before
Yep.
back
Anyway,
in high school.
well, I haven't really had any big developments around here except for this stool, which, by the way, is awesome. It's not really intended for somebody with hips as wide as mine, I don't think, but so far it's much more comfortable than the board I've been sitting on. So I'm really digging that, guys. Y'all gonna get quiet. We're gonna start talking about the weather or something. Somebody better come up with something quick. I'm gonna inquire about Steve's shirt.
So now, uh, you've been playing around with the Acer L2, right?
Yes.
Have you looked into the extension rails for it at all? Does that
Yes,
pique your interest at all?
I am patiently waiting uh, to see what they're going to cost when they come out, but I don't know if I want to swap it for the P20. I'm just going to be honest with you. This machine has been a workhorse, and I don't know. I kind of want to get a 30 something watt, but I'm not as fortunate as some people to be getting a 30 watt. So, uh, I'm really thinking if I can get myself a 30-ish with the extensions and put in here. So I may wind up ordering the Acer L2 30 something watt and go ahead and put it in here with the extensions on it. I don't know yet. We'll see. I went too far or fair. Went too fair. What did I do, Brian? What did I do? Have I?
So yeah, I'm curious because IKEA announced theirs, and it's $199 for the upgrade. But the interesting thing, and I'm trying to find it really quick, is that they're only 750 millimeters long, so it's just under 30 inches.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit smaller than some of the other extensions for the other lasers. So, you know,
Yeah. Well, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I was a little hurt that Acer trimmed the work area of the L2. I like the machine. I like the upgrades. I like what they did. I did some images and it's turned out really well with it. I just I'm really a little hurt over the fact that I lost some of my work area size with it. I was kind of hoping they would expand it a little bigger. So I think we kind of went the wrong way with that, Acer, if you're watching. But if it had been because like the P2 was what 430 by 430, and then you extend it to 850. I was kind of hoping for like 440 out of the L2, because when you're upgrading a machine, give me a little extra work area. And with the design of this machine, the size of the way that the rails are made, the speeds that this machine is capable of, it could have handled another 20 or 30 millimeters of workspace easily. That kind of hurt me. So that's the only complaint that I have with what they did with this machine so far. Is I do miss that extra, because this one's 410 by 410. It's not even the 430 by 430 that the P2 was. So
yeah. And now I did the live stream last night on the longer B1 20 watt. And so I'm just starting to play with that one. And that one's working area is 450 by 440 in a 20 and I'm not sure about the 30 watt. I'd have to go back and look to see, because you might lose a little bit on that one if their module's any bit bigger. But
yeah,
they're sneaking up just a little bit bigger in some of these. Now, this doesn't have necessarily some of the features that the kind of the Generation 2 ones have. It's still a manual focus and such, but it is nice to be kind of stretching those sizes a little bit. However, I also do like that these are fairly portable. That's one of the things that was attractive about having a laser in that 10 to 20 watt when I first started actually getting into these, was like, okay, can realistically do some work, but I can take it with me and move it around. And as you well know, you start extending them and such, and then they become much more stationary machines. So
yeah. Well, somebody is saying that the Two Trees is 450 square. I've got the TS2 20 watt, and it's 410 by 410. I have saw where they claim that it's 450 by 450, but I think they're measuring everything inside the rails, because the workable area is only 410, because I even tried stepping it up to 420 and I got rail strikes out of it. So maybe the 10 watt is 450, but I can't get the 410 out of the TS2, the 20 watt version. I just looked at my settings to make sure I was right, because I'd heard somebody say that it was 450, and I looked at their website and it says it's 450, but realistically the usable work area, it's not. So yeah, I've seen some rumors about the Rolly. I've seen some videos. It looks pretty cool. And yeah, Jim, I've heard they come out with a 30 watt module, and I'm really wanting a 30 watt machine in my big enclosure. I was kind of hoping for the Acer, but we'll see. I may even wind up, I've thought about just upgrading this guy to the V35 with the extensions, and rocking that until something comes along that I like better. But for now, the 20 is still doing great. I just got to have something a little bigger. Yeah, TKs, I appreciate that. But yeah, guys, if you hadn't already, like, subscribe, follow, share, whatever you got to do. Like I said, you guys' influence by doing so is what helps make mine and Steve's channels successful, and keep some of this equipment coming to where we can keep sharing things with you and try to help you guys figure out your problems and so forth. So yeah, if you haven't already, if tonight's your first night finding us, please go check it out and hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up with us, because you never know what we're going to be getting into machine wise or what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, Brian, I did hear, at least from Rich, that it sounds like they're now back in stock, at least on their Amazon store for the rolling machine. So it'd be good to see a few more of them out in the wild, see what people are thinking. From what I hear, they're trying to be very customer service minded. They're trying to test everything before it goes out, and and to have fewer failures. But you know, until they can get things rolling and get enough out there and see if that support model is sustainable, that'll be important too.
Yes. Well, I'm curious to see. Uh, like I said, it's an interesting concept. I like the fact that it's kind of a one-stop shop as far as all the extras and enclosure and all that. That's kind of cool. Uh, but I'm just a curious. Comments in black blurry. Hey, at least we're not blurry. The comments are. I don't know why the comments are blurry. Uh,
Yeah, some of that can be YouTube or Facebook in their encoding, and
yeah,
um, some of that's just out of our control because on our end things generally look pretty clear, even if they're blurry on the stream side. So unfortunately,
yeah. Well, I'm looking at the Facebook and not maximized. It is a little blurry on my screen, but YouTube, I haven't looked at it to see what it looks like. But yeah, some of the software, and it could be too that maybe YouTube has decided that your internet connection wherever you may be isn't strong enough to support the feed, so it's downscaling it a little bit for you. Uh, sometimes it may do that unless you like pause it and let it sit for a minute, let it catch up. I used to have that problem a lot when I had like worse internet than what I have now.
yeah, Jim's one of the early people that got their X-Tool P2, who says he's enjoying it. Um, and yeah, I'm very curious to see what Lightburn figures out, if they can support those features that they want to, and if they continue to develop XCS, that's great from X-Tool's side. But it sounds like right now they're just trying to keep up with getting orders out. They're still just taking deposits as pre-orders for people. So there's a lot of people who have bought into it and are waiting for their machines, and they're needing to get them shipped out too. So
Yeah, I hadn't. Like I said, I can't comment one way or the other because I haven't been able to lay my hands on one. But I like some of the concept. I just hope that it goes together in practice and works the way that they want it to work. Uh, because it is a pretty good investment that you're making. So.
mm-hmm. Yep.
Da, 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 da. White part is clear watching on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know that we can change the color of the background. And if we did, I don't know that it would make a difference.
So Norbert is asking about doing cork coasters. Um, they should worry about any finish after the engraving or not.
I don't, but I mean, that's personal preference. It's cork. I mean, chances are the engrave will outlast the coaster.
So yeah, I would I guess the thing that I think where people run into maybe wanting to do any finish on things is when they're going for a high contrast look, and so they add extra burn to it, and that's where you might have to preserve that with by sealing it in. I I try to find the balance between that. I want the product to stand on its own as best I can without, there's like the whole borax method to get really dark engravings, but then you got to seal that in because all you're really doing is really charring up that top surface. It gets really kind of brittle and can smudge. So then people are, doing a spray on sealer to lock that in. Well, to me, that's just a little too fragile of a product at that point as far as your engrave. So I would find a happy medium where you're getting the contrast you need on what the engrave is, but it's not so bad that that's going to wear off on you, and then and just roll with it.
Poor Brian. Brian stays on me, man. See, like the monitor back there, Brian? Yeah, I was showing this to Steve earlier. I can actually change the color of the logo if I can. Yeah, yeah. I got it. I've been playing around. Steve started it because he had a monitor in his shop. Y'all remember? And he had his Ventari's workshop logo up there. Yeah, so he started it, and so I mean, I got to keep up. I got to keep up with Steve. That's the name of the game. Keeping up with Steve. But he don't have air conditioning yet.
Nope.
Oh, but yeah. No, I've been trying to get it to because I mean, yes, this is still the shack, but technology is kind of my thing, and I like it. But that TV actually, when I'm working, guys, I watch Steve on that TV to inspire me to work and try to be better at what I am. Oh, so that's what that TV, and it's on a swivel, so it'll spin around. And nobody has noticed so far tonight. So I guess I'm gonna have to just like be blatant and point it out and show y'all. Because y'all,
All right, TK, thanks for stopping by.
if y'all remember last week, Steve said he heard a UFO. So I have made this week's a tribute to Steve's desire to see or hear a UFO. So I put me a little alien over top of my TV, and nobody has really noticed it, or at least nobody's mentioned it. So there you go.
Hey, UFO doesn't necessarily mean aliens.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's just unidentified flying object. I haven't identified it, therefore it's a UFO.
Yeah. Well, Brian, I did have a beard accident. I had to start over. Mine was getting a little long, and I went to trim it, and I had it set to a little deeper trim than what I thought. Of course, Brandy wasn't. She wasn't hurt by it. She's actually said she likes it better this way. She said it makes me look younger. Can you believe Brandy said it made me look like a 70-year-old dude? I told her, I was like,
well, I mean, so that's what made you look younger?
Apparently, that makes me look younger. I don't know. I'm going on what she says. So
so you say it was an accident that your beard got trimmed short. Mm-hmm. You had an accident with Brandy's tree. Did she have an accident with your clippers?
No, it was more. It was more me. Yeah, I've got one of those that you twist it and it adjusts, and it's you would think it's kind of like a table saw. You could set the fence, to yeah. It apparently I went too far, and I went from the setting that I thought I was going to use to like the next setting, which just happened to be the lowest. And so when I stuck it in there, it was just like whoa. But at this point, there was this big hole, so I just had to go with it then. I appreciate that, Victor. I tell you what, that's a good one right there. Hats off to Victor. See, you got Brian. I'm getting Victor. Victor's on my side now. Oh Lord, there she is, guys. She's always stalking me. See?
Yeah, we need to make sure we highlight that one there.
70-year-old mountain man. That's what she said. My bad. 70-year-old mountain man. She said I look like I just rolled off the hills somewhere.
So is this like a Grizzly Adams mountain man, or crazy old, banjo playing mountain man?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I had you some banjos the other day, and I forgot to add them to my machine for you. But but yeah, it got me pretty good. So I went ahead and trimmed it on down, and then I come out of the bathroom and I'm like, "Hey, I had an accident." And she's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yes, but the beard hurt." And she was like, "Oh no, it looks great." So until it grows back out, we'll see. Yeah, somebody said something about who was it? Said something about my lighting under the loft. Yeah, Brian. I've been trying to get the lighting better in here, and not go too dark, not go too bright. I do like my wood, and I did put this little partition up right here, so that the cats can kind of get out of sight when they're sleeping. Their bed's right behind the little shelf there. That's where the cat bed is. So,
Oh, here you go. Quick quiz. Do you know who that is?
give me a second, I will. Hey, I might not be good at math,
Oh,
but
and
I might not be good at math, but by
you
George,
say you're a tech guy. Ugh.
but I can. I didn't say
Now,
I was
yeah.
I didn't say I was a tech guy. Leo
You said
Laporte.
you did he not just say recently he loves his tech
Oh, I do.
and
I do, but I'm not a tech guy. I'm not an IT guy like some people.
man, he goes,
Now I know who he is. He looks older than me, though.
well, I
Tech Guy
mean,
Weekly
you
Radio
know,
Show. Okay, now I know. Now I know what they're talking about.
used to be on a show called The Screensavers that was actually on cable before he started his Twit network. So
Well, I actually can make it look that way, Brian, and I do have a green screen, but with all the accusations of my life being a green screen, I don't dare use one.
here
But
you go. Here's your goal.
beard. Well, my like I said, Brandy would disagree. She doesn't really care for it. So I don't know. We'll see. I've told her when I retire, there's going to be like squirrels living in my beard.
Well, you still need to. Maybe that's the problem. You got to take care of it when it gets longer.
Oh, wait a minute. Got a question. See, that's people are learning. When they get tired of hearing all the other stuff, they can ask a question.
What, you got nothing?
For a sliding panel in a box. Well, I'm guessing you're referring to the track for it to slide in, and in my shop, I would have two choices because I don't have a CNC. My choices would be a router table with a straight bit, or the table saw with a dado blade. That would be my two choices. Steve, of course, has a CNC, so he could like lay it out and make it all cool and stuff.
Well, it depends on also how much room you have to work with. So you're thinking about removing material. You can also add material to leave a recess and leave a dado. So in the realm of laser cutting, if you wanted to make something similar to that, you could, take, your 1/8 inch material, layer it up, but leave your gap, or you could actually turn it on end and, pretty much just make a slot. And it's actually something I was working on for a design that will hopefully be a project here in the near future, is a laser cut that's going to have some slots for a tray that is going to slide in and out. So yeah, a dado stack in the table saw makes it really nice and straight and slick, but you got to have the material for that. If you've got a just even a palm router with a straight bit and you can clamp a straight edge to it, you could run that across it if you're thinking about thicker boards and such. That it doesn't have to be anything fancier than just the straightest 2x4 you can find. Clamp to it with a couple of cheap clamps will get you a straight edge, and then set your depth on your trim router with a straight cut bit, and you can do it that way. So
Yeah, yeah. I have a guide, and I forgot the Bosch. I think both my Bosch and my what is the other one I have? The green one. Anyway, I think both of them actually came with a plate that you can put on there to use with a guide. But
yeah,
but
if
he was
it's
saying he
within
was thinking
about
about using the laser to cut a trench, and if it's small enough, you can put it in the laser. Yeah, you do enough passes, you can dig it on in there. You may not have that slick bottom to make it slide real easy. You may still require some sanding or something with a Dremel, but yeah, you could do it with a laser.
yeah, I think that would. I mean, it's definitely possible, but it's not going to be as anytime you're doing like just an engrave in a pocket kind of scenario, yes, you're going to get some depth, but it's never going to be as smooth as precise. So
Yeah.
if you're going for an exactly 1/8 of an inch depth, you're going to get close, but it's going to be a little rough on there as well. But so that's why using either layering it up and leaving the gap in between the two, or using a like a trim tool, trim router, even a table saw. If it's just a thin one, you can make multiple passes and step it over. But
Yeah, you can see right there in the middle. That's my little Bosch router table, and you can take the router out and use it without the table if you choose. But I also have another router that I use when I'm not, using the router table because I got tired of taking it in and out. But you can get those fairly reasonable if you're not doing anything large. I caught that one on sale, and I think the guy sold me the table for like $100 because it was one of those open box specials that Steve likes. And when they opened the box, he's like, I can't promise you all the parts are here or all the screws are here. And I'm like, it's a $250, router table. And he's like, yeah, we'll let you have it for $100. And I'm like, go ahead and put it in the buggy. And I got lucky. It had everything in there. I think I wound up with like maybe one or two of the little like guards that it's supposed to come with. It didn't have, but it wasn't something that I was going to be missing on a daily basis. So it turned out to be a good deal. What else we got? That's the better table. The green one is the cheaper one. Yeah, like I said, that's one of my routers. My other one stays hid over here under the. I'll grab it while Steve finds another question. I can't remember what the name. I think it may be Ryobi. Let me look. I keep the other one.
Ryobi would, if it's green, that's an old Ryobi.
Well, it may not be Ryobi. I can't tell you for sure. Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
It is a
Yep,
Ryobi.
sorry, I was thinking the. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one that I
is
use.
newer.
And if you look here, like we were talking about using the track, it's got the flat surface here, so you can use it with a track as well. And it came with another little bolt-on piece that's down here that you can bolt to it and use it kind of like with a fence to lock it to the fence. So that's the one I use outside the table. Inside the table, I've actually got the one that comes, the Bosch one that comes with the setup. I keep forgetting I don't got a wireless mic no more. I hope y'all could actually hear me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brian, I used to do a goatee, but that was because I couldn't grow this. I'm still not great at it, but it's getting there. Blue, Brian says blue is the old Ryobi.
Yeah, that's true. I was trying to think of there was another tool manufacturer that had kind of like a dark green. The name is escaping me right now, but yeah, the new bright green. That's the newer Ryobi tools.
Yeah. Well, that Craftsman joiner that you see right there, I got a buddy that owns a pawn shop, and I happened to go in there one day, and he was like, "Hey, we're fixing to have to inventory all this stuff, and I've got this joiner." And I was like, "What do you want for it?" And it was still brand new. It was barely even scratched. And he was like, "Give me $100." So I was like, "Okay," because it was like a $200-something joiner, and it was practically new. And I didn't have one at the time. I had always been doing the table saw planer approach, and I was like, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad one to have. Hitachi, I think he's right about that. I think that was the dark green.
Well,
stuff.
Hitachi is green, but yeah, it might be the older Makita ones that were kind of this. Yeah, and it's not Masterforce because they still make those, but yeah. Anyway, at Festool, they're neon green. They'll always be neon green. It takes a lot of green to buy them.
Well, there's a good question Jim has, and I think that's depends on what you're going to be doing with it. It'd be my thing. If you're just doing to be routering edges or using small bits like 1/4-inch bits and stuff, I think a trim router would be fine. What do you think, Steve?
I have not pulled out my full large router in years. As a matter of fact, the one I use, I'll go grab it, is not even corded.
Yeah, I'm wanting the DeWalt 20-volt little trim router. That's on my Santa Claus list.
So, I've got this. It's a rigid palm router. It's got the batteries, so I am not messing with cord. And for doing trim work or ripping a quick dado in a board, this is all I need, and it can just sit up on the shelf. And yeah, pick your flavor: DeWalt, Milwaukee, whoever, Ryobi. For the average person, you can get a corded trim router, but having cordless is so much handier. So if you've already bought into a battery system, I'd look there first. Otherwise, I've used the DeWalt corded trim router as well. I've actually used that in my other CNC quite a bit. That's decent. And I've got the Bosch Colt trim router for a corded one as well. 90% of what you do it's going to be fine for, unless you're using it on some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, if you're trying to, yeah, if you're trying to do like a 3/4 inch deep, 3/4 inch dado, then you may want to step it up to a bigger router with 2 handles, because like that one there and my Bosch will both get away from you if you're doing it. If you're trying to dig too much and you go too fast, you need those 2 handles.
Mm-hmm.
But I really want the DeWalt 20 volt. It looks just like the one that you just showed. That's on my list of things to get, to add to my wall. Y'all know that I have this thing about DeWalt. Obviously, I like DeWalt, so I will be adding one of those to the selection. I bought the DeWalt palm sander, and that thing, the Oscillate Random Orbital sander, and that thing, I haven't pulled the corded one out since I got this one. Bull prefers the corded because he's just old school like that, but I love the 20 volt system. And I've got my battery chargers mounted. You can probably see them in the video here, but I've got my battery chargers all mounted up on the wall over there, so I keep 4 hot batteries all the time, and that's just the way to go, in my opinion. So, but yeah, hopefully I'll be getting me one of those. I got router envy now. Steve. Here's another question. Let me see. Where'd I put it?
Yeah, I've got Rigid, I've got some Bosch, I've got Milwaukee, I've got DeWalt. I'm not married to one tool manufacturer right now, so.
Well, there you go. That's when I do use one. That's the little guy that I use, and it was the cheapest one I could find. So it's not yellow. It's a Ryobi, but it does for what I do. So sometimes price dictates, and when you need it, you may not have that extra 100 laying around, and you can get a green one cheaper than you can get a yellow one. So I needed this like in a bad way, and at the time, that was my budget, not the yellow one. So I got that one.
Yeah, as far as scroll saws, I used to use one a bunch, especially with my model airplane stuff. I can't tell you the amount of balsa and light plywood I've cut on one of those. But since getting the laser and the CNC router, it was just in the way collecting dust. So I gave mine to my sister, and pretty much I use, if I need to clean something up, I've got a couple of band saws that I can use. But other than that, no, I haven't done a lot of scroll work in a long time, but they are a really nice tool to have. And if you've got the space for one and you're doing a lot of intricate little stuff, they can even help clean up some laser stuff. You get that one spot where it didn't quite cut. You can get that in there and clean it up. So.
Well, see, what I use it for is I like a lot of the 3/4 and the 1 inch thick stock that I cut off of the sawmill. I make that into bread boards, cutting boards, charcuterie boards, and that type of thing. So what I do is I take and put the wood in the laser, and I have the intricate little designs and stuff, in the laser as my outlines. And I take the laser and I set it to where it burns a nice dark line, and then I take it to the bandsaw and do as much as I can on the band. And then once I get it to where you've got those sharp turns, and then I'll take and I clamp. You can see I got it mounted to a board. The jigsaw or the scroll saw is mounted to a board. I take some of my clamps and I clamp that guy to a table, and then I finish out the handle or the intricate turns that I couldn't do with the bandsaw, and it just makes things a lot faster than trying to do it with a jigsaw, because most of those little cutting boards are so small that you can't clamp them down. And you know what happens if you don't clamp down material with a jigsaw? It winds up slapping you to pieces. So the jigsaw I did the first two or three with a jigsaw, and I'm like, this is not working. So I went and got me a scroll saw. But yeah, I got most everything. That's what me and Brandy were walking around Woodcraft. She's like, you've already got one of those. You've got one of those. You've got one of those. But this guy's been sitting over, it's got like a half-inch dust on it. I got to blow it off. Because I don't use it that often, because I cut up, I'll get it out and I'll do a marathon, cut up 20 or 30 of those things, and then I may not use it for 3 or 4 months. So. Yeah, if I had a CNC, I would do the same thing there, Toby. But I'm not like Steve. Steve's got that big CNC sitting over there behind him, or wherever he moved it to. Did you move your CNC? I don't see it behind you now.
Well, my table's moved. You can just see the corner of it right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have one of those yet.
Well, I should have one moving out in the near future, so.
Well, that's a shame. You've got more than one. Yep. Black & Decker. I haven't had a Black & Decker in a while, but when I first started doing this kind of stuff, most of my tools came from like Walmart or Ace Hardware. So I had a lot of Black & Decker, Skil. I've had every brand you can think of, and as long as they work, I'm really not judgmental about the name. But the battery powered stuff, I do like having the DeWalt, because I have so many batteries now. I didn't break Steve. Steve's just broke like that, guys. He's gonna have to step it up with his computer game, I guess. He's done everything. He's done everything we know to do. It's just
there's nothing more I can do without getting a job at the local fiber company and redirecting them to actually run it down my street. So
yeah,
I'm on a wire. I'm cabled up to the modem, hardwired. So I put my device on priority status for the next 4 hours for the stream.
What's your what package do you pay for, and then what is your actual bandwidth that you're getting?
Let's see. That's a good question.
Because you're at a pretty significant size city. I would think y'all would have great internet up there.
You would think so, but it's so I'm on Spectrum, and we get 500 down, and I want to say they advertise it as 40 up, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I'm trying to double check here, but it tests out. So the latest test was 526 down and 22 up.
That's the problem right there.
Well, I mean, a live stream shouldn't take that much. So it's usually about 3 to 5 is what you need for that. But
well, I'm a little overkill.
Yeah, you are. But see, that's the problem right now. Is there's lots of grants and whatnot to get rural high speed up to snuff, but they so you get into an area where I'm at where we're not like major city status, and so you can still have monopolies with local telcos and such, even though in the immediate area there might be 75 to 100,000 people within 20 minutes of where I live. But they don't have the incentive to. So
yeah, well, the weird thing is, guys, I live back in the sticks. Like Steve came to my house and was like, what in the world, you got fiber here? But I've actually got a gig up and a gig down, so I'm running about 850 both ways right now. See you later there, VT. Have a good one. But it wasn't this way up until a couple of years ago when we got fiber. And so you're still on, what is it, like cable? Is that
Yep.
what you're on?
Yep.
So there, a lot of
Still
that
on
he
copper.
can't. Yeah, he can't help that if especially if the provider has a spike in usage or something, it's going to negatively affect what he's got going on over there. So, but we're doing everything we can. He did run the cable and all that, so it's not his fault. I'm just
Yeah,
glad it ain't me. I am just
my
glad it ain't me.
my stream last night. I'm just saying it was fine.
Yeah, and it could be the software. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. Yeah, Brian. He's like, change the subject. Oh, but yeah. Oh, now that Brian, that Brian. If I read that wrong, that could be a little misleading there, bro. This is Steve.
Hmm.
Would you like to comment? Would you like to comment on that?
Nope. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, Brian. Unfortunately, even though Fidium is here in town and Metronet, formerly Jaguars in town, they do not have it running in my neighborhood. So I've told them both. You want to come down my street, I'll hook up. But yeah,
yeah. I was in the live last night watching Brian. I kept hoping that Steve would have to take it apart, and put it back together, because I know I've done that 100 times. Where you get the arms on the wrong side, and you don't realize it till you put that last piece together. But he got lucky because I was gonna give him a hard time when he did it. Not as if I haven't done it myself 100 times, but
I don't know what you're talking about. I put mine together perfectly every single time, first time. Nope.
Yeah, you're not. Are you piping OBS into Restream, or are you just going straight into Restream?
Nope. I'm straight into the Restream client, so I don't have anything running on the back end.
Because dude, mine's going through. I'm going through like 3 softwares to get to Restream.
Yeah, you've got the complex setup. I mean, I
Yeah.
have hardly anything else running on here. So
Which like I said, this was not possible with that other computer I had. I had to break out the big guns for this one. All right, questions, comments, concerns, anything, anybody, guys? We're gonna be sitting here talking about nothing, and we're going on about 1 hour and 37. So we'll have to put Steve to bed if y'all don't want to come up with something for us to figure out. Or then we'll just sit here and talk about old tools.
yeah. So your how'd your event go? What was it? The first Friday? Is it like Friday
Yeah,
nights? Is it just a series of
yeah.
events? Because I know you got other things going on too in June.
Well, yeah. What they're doing, and they're kicking off June, because June has always been like in Chilton County because of the peach harvest. June's always kind of been like a lot of people have their harvest festivals and stuff like that. Well, peaches are the biggest thing here, and those are typically picked toward the end of June, and so the county kind of created June as the peach month or whatever. And then we have the peach jam, which over the years it used to just be like basically where the farmers would come into town and bring their peaches, and they would have auctions and so forth. Well, it has evolved into more of an entertainment vendor type event, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And so the city this weekend was a city event. The city of Clanton and the Merchants Association wanted to do an event downtown. We're trying to pull some stuff downtown, have more events, and a little more of a kind of walk around, hang out kind of a atmosphere. And so each Friday in June, leading up to the Peach Jam, they're going to have entertainment and everything downtown in the entertainment district. You can walk around with a beverage as long as you've purchased it in one of the stores and all that. And they've got live music. So It it was okay. It was busy. I had Klein was supposed to come help me, but he's like me. He's bad with scheduling, and he had already scheduled to take his wife to Orlando to one of the theme parks, and had a conflict of schedule. And then of course I didn't think I was going to need any help, so Brandy had already kind of had the kids, and she had stuff she had to do with her work. So it's pretty much just me manning the booth, and I stayed very busy. I did a whole bunch of like, because I do a lot of on-site engraving of keychains and charcuterie boards and cutting boards and stuff like that. So I had the laser running pretty much the entire time. Uh, I sold enough to make it worth the trip. I mean, I didn't like knock it out of the park, but I was busy engraving and talking to one customer. People would walk up, look, and before I could engage them, they would keep walking. So, that was a mistake on my part for not having enough help. But without paying somebody, I depend on Brandy or like Klein to come, because I had told Klein, I was like, hey, bring some of your stuff. We'll stick a tag on it, and if it sells, you can make yourself some money. And so hopefully the next few events, if I do go to the next one and sell, he called me today and said that he did want to help me at the next one if I do decide to actually be a vendor and not just go and be there. So we'll see how that goes, and we'll see how my week works out and see how it works out for me to be able to do it. But cool. I don't know yet.
If you want, I know Paul's still working with his. I can run and grab my Z1 really quick and try to plug it in out here, see if we can get some stuff for him.
Yeah, I don't have mine, so you're gonna have to be the one to do it. Bull's got mine.
Let me run real quick, grab that, and we'll see what we can figure out.
Okay, we'll talk about you while you're gone. All right, it's talk about Steve time now. So, Brian, would you like to start it off with how elegant you think Steve's beard looks? Well, Sharon, good to see you again, and have a good night. Yeah, we're gonna stay a little bit later, it looks like, but I'm sure you can watch the replay if you want. But we'll see you next time. Oh, yeah. That would be an idea too. Whew. Man, I'm getting old, getting sleepy early. Is if you had another computer, you could try to see if you could get it to power up on another computer. But that would be dependent on having another one. Any more questions, comments, concerns, or anything while Steve goes and digs up his Z1? Okay, we're just going to sit here in awkward quietness because I can't banter with Steve. Oh, well, thanks, Brian. I take that as an extreme compliment, seeing that you're usually roasting me. So, but yeah, I try to take as I can and put some money back into the shop, the production. I know you guys are like me, and blurry video and terrible audio is kind of messed up. So I always try to improve on that. Somebody asked me about the bees. Yeah, the bees were doing good. I've seen somebody commented earlier that they liked the video. I appreciate that, because not a lot of people do like the bee videos. What's the temperature outside? Right now, it's probably pretty good. Siri, what's the temperature outside? 75 right now outside. And thanks to my air conditioning inside, it's like 74.3 is what this says, which is actually kind of hot, but the sun just went down, so. Why do you have to wait for the bees to catch the honey? Oh, science lesson, guys. Science lesson. Jack, well, the way the bees make the honey is they basically collect all the ingredients, the water, the nectar from the plants and all, and they more or less whip it up into a brew, and they stick it into those little cells While it's in those cells, they actually dehydrate it and get the water out of it to a certain point. Like it has to be exactly to that just right amount of moisture in that honey. And once it reaches that point, they create the wax and they cap it to seal it off. When they seal it off, that keeps it from getting any more moisture in it or any less, and more or less just seals it up like in a little tiny jar. So you have to wait. That they won't cap it until it is ready. Once it's capped, then honey will last pretty much forever. But if you harvest it and it's not capped, it's not going to hurt you per se, but it's not going to be as sweet. It's going to be a lot thinner. It's not going to have that real thick consistency that it normally would have, and the flavor can be different too because it'll taste more like pollen, or like not like pollen, but like nectar, straight nectar instead of actually tasting like honey. So there's a science to it, and there's some pretty cool videos out there that goes into it like in a real in-depth manner. But the reason is they have to dehydrate it basically. But yeah, I like the bees. Another thing you wouldn't understand: live in the land of honey. I don't know what she's talking about. Northern thing. I missed something, Victor, or he's saying. Oh Lord, my head spins sometimes trying to keep up with these comments, guys. Well, Steve, did you figure it out?
I'm just getting it set up here. So let's see if we can add this. And so I've plugged it into USB. I haven't put power on, but we've got the green light is blinking because it's plugged into the computer. And I'm not getting.
Well, while you do that, yeah, Chris. Yeah, Chris, they actually did find jars of honey in the tombs of the pharaohs, and it was still edible. It will not grow bacteria. Honey is one of the best natural antibiotics that exists. It can be used from everything from, like Brandy had a real severe sore throat the other day, and the antibiotic properties of honey is pretty fascinating. If you ever want to read up on that, you can use it for wound care because it's sticky. So if you have a cut, you can actually pour honey in the cut. It will coat it and keep it from getting infected. Honey is an amazing natural creation. So, Brian, I'm assuming. Brian wants to know if you're wearing pants tonight or shorts. I'm guessing he just said he wants to know if you're wearing pants. And with Brian, you never know where that's going.
Well, I heard you saying it's 75 there.
Yeah, it is now. The sun's went down. That big blazing ball in the sky went down.
Pretty sure it's warmer here right now. All right, so I do have the red light is on and the green light is blinking. I am going into light burn because I haven't added it to this machine yet. And we will see if it detects it.
Yeah, Jack, they say that if you take local honey, it helps with allergies because basically you're getting all the pollen and everything from all the trees in your area, and your body has a chance to acclimate to it. So you don't have as strong of an allergic response to it.
So yeah, it's detected the laser COM5 400 by 400. So it's seeing this one.
Yeah, you've got a blinking green, it looks like, and a solid red.
Yep.
If you can't
I'm
see
just
that.
getting this done to see what happens when we actually connect to it. Turn off auto on. Finish. Okay. And nope, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Says okay, it's connected, and the green light is still blinking, but I should be able to, move it around. So it is connected, and red light's solid, green light's blinking. I don't believe I've even added the driver to this machine, but I've added multiple other lasers, so I probably have. But
yeah, like I said, that driver is pretty common amongst a lot of the machines.
Yep. So that's Yeah, the red light didn't come on until I powered it up. So maybe double check your power adapter. Mine has a blue light on it. If you've got a voltmeter, double check the voltage coming out of the barrel plug, and make sure that it's actually getting power. Because if I turn this off, the power off, the red light goes out, but the green stays blinking. And if I unplug it, it's just drawing that flashing light is coming from the USB power on the computer. So if that is all you're having, I would check your power supply.
Yeah, and it very well could be that it could be the switch also from what you're showing there, because if with the switch off, plug the power supply in with the switch off and see if the red light comes on. It could be either. It could be a problem with either the switch or the plug or the power supply. Yeah,
So the
because
power supply,
that's basically what he says he's getting right there is just a blinking green. So
yeah, I would say if it's that, then start looking at your power supply. See if you can test the voltage on it so you can see if there's actually voltage coming out of there. And if you are, then maybe check into the switch on there, because this does unbolt and you can get into the board a little bit.
he said he had other lasers. I wonder if the other ones have the same output power supply where you could try one of those. But I would be careful, make sure not to feed it too much juice.
The solid green light and laser fan and light on. Okay, well, that means it's probably getting power because the fan doesn't come on until I turn the power on. But then I'm getting the red light and that light stays flashing. So that's probably some sort of board issue at that point if you're not getting anything else out of that.
Yeah, it's got different power bricks, so that's not going to be an option either. See, I never had any problems out of my ZV, so or Z1 or whichever they call it.
Anyway, yeah, glad we could at least verify what a working one runs at. Now this one, I haven't updated the firmware on in a while, so maybe I'd brick it if I did.
I was fixing to say that might be a good thing. You never know. I didn't have any problem when I updated the software on the one that I had, but you never know. What am I asking?
Did you say it's 70? It's 75 down there right now.
That's what Siri says. I haven't went outside and checked it.
Wow.
Siri, what's the temperature outside? Now you got to understand, I'm not in a concrete jungle either. I got trees around me, so when it gets dark, it actually cools off quick around here.
Not in a concrete jungle either.
See, look, 70, 75.
Surrounded by trees. Got a
75.
river valley.
But yeah, I fixed my cut time, projected time.
All right, so
Okay,
maybe we're not.
Anthony said
we're at 78 right now. So enjoy your cool weather.
Hey, it's been nice down here. I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't been as hot as it usually is down here so far. I'm hoping maybe things kind of flipped a little bit, and you're going to get all the heat that we normally get, and maybe we'll get just a little bit of the cool that y'all get during the summer. So that's what I'm hoping.
Okay. We're supposed to cool down this week, so.
I've never done that before. Additional settings and brought the cut time percentage down from 100% to 96. So I guess that's an adjustment that you can do. I don't ever really, I do estimate with that, but mine's usually pretty accurate. You might know the answer to this one. I ain't got a clue.
What size threads on laser for air assist? I would have to take this off and see. Let's see if I can do that quick. I'm guessing it's going to be around an M4, but let's take a look. Could be bigger.
You have a lot more experience with those metric screws than I do. I don't even have I've been meaning to buy a gauge to where I could test them. I haven't got one yet. Yeah, today it got pretty hot here today, but it cools down. Here lately, it's been cooling down pretty good. At night, especially when the sun goes down, it gets a lot cooler here. If I can figure out where I do with my weather app, I'm so used to asking Siri for everything. There we go.
So what do you have on tap for this week?
I've got to finish those stove covers over there. I've got them piled up on the table right now. I've got 4 of them burned and engraved last night, but then I got lazy and went in the house. So, yeah, it looks like it's going to be around 91's the high Saturday. And guys, that's really cool for here. I'm really digging this cooler weather because it's nowhere near as hot as it's been being because it's a lot better on the power bills and stuff. But yeah, it's been lower 90s, which we usually would have been close to the triple digits by now, but we haven't quite hit it yet.
All right, so gotta come in closer. This is the original. This is mine. This is an older Z1 module, and so this is kind of the air assist that they sold at the time. These may be different than the current ones, but this is an M4 thread that goes into here for the air assist nozzle, and then there's just a set screws above that. But take that as it is because they have changed some things on these in the past year, so yours may be different. But and then I think you gave me this idea on it was to actually route it in the back here instead of off to the side. So that's how I
it works.
mine.
It works a lot better. That channel was not being used for anything, so
Routing up that way. So as I kick my camera,
yeah, I ran mine that way because the elbow was hitting the frame at certain points, and so I found out that if you put it around back, it just looks better. It's out of the way. It says his has a plastic nozzle. Yeah, so it may be a lot different machine. So, but mine and yours were identical. I think we got them around the same time. So I'm pretty sure ours was probably the same lot number. Those fittings, you may have to like adapt a fitting to fit that. Oh, I don't know. I bought, because when I got mine, you had to buy the air assist kit separately. And it came with 2 or 3 different methods of attaching it to different machines. I don't know do you know of a place you can buy that little fitting, Steve?
I was just looking to see there. This. There might be on Amazon if you look, because they do have some similar ones, but you need to find the right threading on it. So
I'm about to get up and walk around.
It's interesting that it doesn't come with the airline connector. So, and then you might also want to double check if you've got a plastic nozzle on there, it could be a different size thread. So if you I don't know, if you have a set of metric screws, and you could just kind of see which ones go in there, unless you have an actual thread tool or a tap set to double check it. But
Yeah, mine is exactly like the one that you have, but I don't know what size they are.
Anyhow, So anyway,
Yep. But
rolling past 9 p.m. here. It's kind of getting quiet a little bit. Any final questions?
yes, Anthony. Which eights are you talking about? Because I got two of them. I got the L2 and I got the P20. If you're talking to me, I'm assuming you're talking to me. You don't have an enclosure on your eights yet, do you, Steve?
No, not yet. I've been waiting to extend the laser and get it out here, but I got to get this CNC machine out of here first. So
But yes, I actually do have plans. They're in our Laser Community Facebook page. I put them in the documents there. Oh, I think I have them on my drive as well. Let me look and see. Now, they're not like seriously detailed plans, but they get you the gist of it.
while you're
I may
looking for
have.
that,
That may be the only place they exist now. I don't see them on my phone. Oh, there they are. Uh,
so while you're digging that out, Norbert, the story behind my channel name Bintari, this goes back to my college days, and I needed to pick out a username for some system, and all my usual ones were taken, and so I just started kind of making up a fantasy-like name to try to get something that wasn't taken, and that is what came about, and it was something that's been unique ever since. So anytime I've, for the next few years after that, anytime I needed a username, I went with that, and it eventually just kind of became my kind of online persona, I guess. So wasn't much thought into it. There's no actual meaning behind it. it was just it was just the what I was able to come up with at the time, and it's been unique enough that it's something I'm pretty much guaranteed that no one else is using. So
got another one over here about the F1. Haven't got a chance to play with it. X2 really hasn't been that forthcoming with their stuff. So I've seen some videos, probably the same videos you guys have seen, but that's about the limit of my experience with that machine so far.
yeah, I mean I don't want to like badmouth anybody or whatnot, but Xtool, they send a lot of emails wanting content creators to be salesmen. And so, the latest one I got is like, hey, we've got a Father's Day sale coming up, and if you think you could put the video together to promote it, that'd be great. Just let us know. We'll send you the details. And I don't like that. It just feels too salesy. It takes away from integrity a bit and such. And I feel those of us who don't go along with that game kind of get bumped down the list as far as who they're going to send stuff out. So yeah, I think that's probably why you're seeing certain stuff not being sent our way by them, is because we don't want to be salesmen. We'd love to dig into the tools. We'd love to look at them, and I don't think either of us would ever make just a video that's just going to rag on a product.
No.
But we're gonna try to be honest about it. We're gonna show, hey, we like this, we don't like this. This is real world experience. It is what it is. And if they don't like that, then they don't like that. I still think Xtool makes a good machine, and I think they make many good machines. But I kind of draw the line at being a salesman. I want to be a reviewer, but with integrity, and that's primary first. And if that means I don't get some of the gear, then so be it. So
Yeah. Well, guys, y'all have seen all the videos that I've done with my X tools. I've had the D1 and I got the D1 Pro 20 watt. I bought both of those machines. Those were my first two lasers. I like those machines. The 20 watt is what I used at the event this past weekend. It's because that's what my little Clack Shack, portable Clack Shack, is made to house it. And so both my X tools live in my box trailer that I take to these events. And I don't have a problem with X Tool. I think I may have just made them mad with me because they did reach out to me and wanted me to basically sign something saying that they could download my content and reuse it in advertisement. And I denied that request, and I told them, I said, I don't have a problem with you sharing my content through links, but I do not want my content edited in a manner to where it makes it look like I'm saying something that I'm not, and then republished. And so I refused to. I refuse to sign anything and sign it over to them. Now I do know that if you go to their website, there's a couple of my videos that they have link shared in the some of the tutorials and the how-tos and stuff like that, and I have no problem with that. But I didn't. I don't want to give anybody the ability or the access to go in and edit my videos and for their own benefit, for their own purpose, and reuse them. Because then it may look as if I'm telling you, hey, go buy one, but the context of the way that they've edited it is not entirely accurate. So I don't know if I made them mad. I don't know what I did, but that was my choice, and I didn't. I just didn't feel comfortable. I don't know them. I don't trust them. If Steve wanted to use some of my content, I trust Steve enough to know that he's not gonna. He might make something funny, but he's not gonna make me out to be a liar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, Brian, I'm not giving Brian any of my content. He'll wind up having me doing one of those little dances with something on my head. But yeah, it was. It was. I think I may have made them angry with me because that was the last email I got from them was, hey, do you mind us, using your content? I'm like, no, link share away. And they're like, no, we want to download it. And they sent me this form, and I just wasn't comfortable with it, guys. I mean, I'm not gonna like Steve said. I can honestly tell you, Steve's not gonna lie to you intentionally. He's not gonna mislead you. Yes, me and Steve both have affiliate links. That's how we buy some of our tools. That's how we are able to pay for the software that we have to pay for every month to have these videos. And we do use affiliate links, but I'm not going to sit here and go, this is the greatest machine ever. It's awesome, to get you to buy it. I'm going to show you what it does real world. If you like it, buy it. If you don't, don't. Now, if you do buy it, by all means, use one of those links. But I'm not going to encourage you to do anything that I wouldn't want to. I have people all the time ask me, hey, what machine should I buy? And I flat refuse to tell you, because each machine is great in its own way. Some machines are better for some people than others. If you're not a very sophisticated technical type person, the simpler machines are going to be your friend, So I don't want to make that decision. If you ask me, hey, is this a decent machine? Should I buy it? I'll tell you, yes, a good machine, but I'm not going to tell you which one you should buy. So, well, Chris, is the internet kicking out over there in the land down under?
So, and all that's being said, I still think Xtool is a good company. I still think they make good products, and yes, they send these out for free advertising. That's perfectly fine. I think it's great that they get it out in the hands of people that do real world stuff.
Yeah.
But you just keep in mind the motivation behind the creators. You can see when maybe someone got too good of a deal with someone, and maybe take their opinion with a grain of salt. Versus people who try to continue to have that freedom and not be under some sort of contract and whatnot for that. So, but yeah, it's it is what it is. But that's why we may have not been getting some of the Xtool stuff lately. Is that we're not willing to be salesmen for them and just sing the praises all the time with that. So, I'm not dinging them at all as a company or their product. Just that's the reality of those devices. Now, if I had a business reason to get an F1 and do some metal engraving, sure, I would have bought it myself and been able to do the review stuff. But the reality is that my videos are not going to pay for an F1 machine alone, so I need to have some other reason for it, or be willing to just plunk that money away to play around with it. And those machines are still a bit expensive for kind of a compact one use. It's specialized in what it does. I've got machines that do the other things it can do. So for me, it's not it's not just not financially viable for me to grab them on my own right now. So I'm at the mercy of people to want to have me try it out and talk about it here and on videos and such. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of similar products out there. Oh, like I said, the Atom Stack M4 has me intrigued. And like you said, if I had a reason to purchase it, I would probably go try out the Atom Stack M4. Oh, but I'm like you. I don't have enough. I don't have a caveat of things that I want to do that I can't do with the rest of these guys. So that's kind of where I'm at too. But anyway, guys, if you hadn't already, like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Uh, Steve and I, like I said, we try to do honest, informed reviews of these machines, and especially with the ones that we really like, because you'll see that especially with me, I've had my my P20 ever since they sent it to me. I'm still using it today. It's done thousands of burns for me. It's done me a good job. I have went through a few lenses, but I did find that part of my problem was when I put the air conditioner in. Uh, I didn't have adequate water filtration on the system, and so I think that was what was causing my problem. Is I was getting moisture in the lines, and it kept burning those lenses up. But I seem to have resolved that now, and haven't had any more problems. And then the L2, I'm loving it so far. I do have other machines that are very similar. I don't have a problem with them. I chose the L2 mostly because it combines the Z-axis 6 limit switches and the automatic air assist. The automatic air assist was kind of that was the deal breaker, because being able to use that M8 relay is something that none of the rest of these machines, with the exception of the Niji that I have, was capable of doing. It was only 20 watt in its class that would work with that particular module. So, but if you haven't already, like, follow, subscribe. If you're new to the channel and you just picked us up for the first time, we do have the Laser Engraver community page that me and Steve monitor frequent or stop in from time to time. So if you want to go join that page, if you ever need any help, Steve and I are in there. Chris, Brian, like a lot of the regular guys are in there. And these guys are really knowledgeable. Even if me and Steve aren't around, some cases they're going to know more than we are. I wouldn't be afraid to say that Jeff knows way more about fibers than either one of us, because he runs a fiber on a regular basis. So a lot of knowledge and a lot of people that are willing to help you here. If you do join the page, though, guys, contribute more than you take. That is kind of the rule. If you want to share some stuff that you're doing that's business related, that's cool. But don't be sitting there just watching people ask questions and not trying to help, because that's what it's all about, is us working together to help each other. It's not for somebody to come in there and just spam us with advertisements and try to make money off of us. Steve and I will share some of our video stuff in there from time to time, but we also answer a ton of questions in the group as well. So always give more than you take in the group. If not, you'll get blocked. Just saying.
yeah, we've had a few people come in there, and the first post is here, come buy my skills or something like that. At least doing a hey, here's who I am and here's what I do, and answer a couple things. But to hit it off with a sales pitch right away is usually a sign that that's all you're there for. So, and before we wrap it up, I know Gillett here has asked us a few times, is wondering about should they buy the L2 now or wait and see if there's a Black Friday sale. Just from my watching various manufacturers and such, they often have kind of their pre-sale whenever they're announcing one, and they often offer a deal. It might go up for a little bit, but oftentimes it's going to settle down at that price. And they seem to be they'll pick whatever holiday. Like I mentioned, Xtool is trying to push their Father's Day sale. There's always a sale going on generally. So I would say you might not have to wait till Black Friday to get a deal on it. So it comes down to, do you need it, and do you want to lose that time using it, waiting for the Black Friday sale, or or is there a set price point that you need it to come down to? Let those things dictate for you, whether it's need or your budget. I would say, you're going to have buyer's remorse eventually with anything you buy if you're trying to wait and make sure you get the best bang for your buck with every time. Because as soon as you buy the L2, they're going to come out with something else. So make sure it's what you want and you're comfortable spending that money. And once those things align, hit the buy button. So
Yeah, yeah, that's always my problem. I am very impatient. I'll spend extra money before I wait if I have the extra money. And sometimes I don't have the extra money. So, yeah, it's a personal preference. But if you wait until Thanksgiving or you wait till the Black Friday sale, they may release a new machine that you like even better, and now you're waiting on it. So it's a catch-22. Chris said he likes the fact that sometimes there's not just one solution. We can get 3 or 4 ways of doing something in one channel. So, which is true because mine and your brains work different. And I think that's what kind of makes us help each other, because sometimes I need some of that technical stuff because I'm overlooking it. And so I call Steve and I'm like, hey, I need your nerd for a minute.
So anyway, we've gone long, and I hopefully we got to all those questions, but if not, definitely jump over into that group, ask them there. Otherwise, hit us up in the comments on either of our channels. We can answer them after the video's done, and or save it up for next week. I may or may not be able to make it. I'll be doing a little extra traveling with the family, and so next Sunday evening, you may just have Clack. And
that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough, guy.
You're gonna have to help him survive that by himself. But if I can hop on, I will, and we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, continue to check out the channels. I know we're both looking at some content that's non-review related, and there are still some more machines that will be coming our way as well. But we appreciate all the support and likes and the comment. I love the comment section because people, they'll throw some extra questions or whatnot down there, and we can kind of continue the conversation on those videos there as well. So appreciate everybody that does that. And I'm pretty sure wherever I'll be next weekend is hopefully going to be cooler than it was here this weekend. And maybe I can stretch out buying that air conditioner for a while.
I may have to just, because I'm not going to be able to do well by myself, so I'm gonna have to contemplate on that. I may have to try to talk Brandy into coming out here and helping me out or something.
Well,
it'll just be crickets.
We could always shift it to Saturday, But,
yeah, I think we'll make it. And you need to have your time with your family. That's understandable. I've got a vacation coming up pretty soon too, so we may have one on the road. Yeah, I can get me a mannequin. What are they called? It's not a mannequin.
Muppet?
No, whatever the little artificial dude is. Oh, it's late. All right, guys, be safe and have a good day as usual. And we'll see y'all, or I will. Steve may not. That's what it's going to be like. Will Steve make it? Will Steve make it? That's the thumbnail right there. Yeah, we'll talk about bees if nothing else. But y'all guys be safe. Appreciate you coming.
Let's see everyone.